Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Game Clock, your new favorite sports show. I'm your host, Michael Pales, and today we're going to be talking about Week 14, taking a look at the wins and losses and who is currently in the playoff picture. And then we're going to be talking about some storylines. Again, who's in the playoff picture regarding quarterback play. And we're going to talk about a crazy signing that a team near the top of the AFC made. And then we'll be predicting Week 15, just kind of looking ahead, seeing who we think are going to be able to make it or miss in the playoffs. But as that was said, let's start getting into it as we're going to go into quarter one and take a look at the NFL scores from this past weekend. As we start the clock, let's pull this up. Oh, goodness. There we go. Okay. As we look at Week 14, first game of the week was Cowboys at the Lions in Detroit. This game, for some reason, the Lions love to bounce back. They love these bounce-back games. They, I believe, are 5-0 in their 5 losses the week following. And they went and said, hey, this Cowboys team has a terrible terrible defense. Let's handle it. And they handled business. They put up 44 points. They played an exceptional game. They executed on what their game plan was, and they handled business. And by that metric, I think that there's nothing you can do to discount what the Lions did. The Cowboys right now are still in contention for the NFC East. Their rival, currently atop the NFC East, just lost to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Cowboys need to be playing immaculate football these last few weeks of the NFL season, last 4 weeks of the NFL season, if they want even a chance at sniffing that NFC East title and making the playoffs, because they are one of those teams that's a fringe playoff team. They're probably not going to make it if they don't put up some crazy numbers. Right now, I believe it's 9 wins at the bottom of the NFC, which is mind-boggling when you look at the seeding right now. If you're a Cowboys fan, you guys got to know you got to win out. There's no world in which you make the playoffs unless you win out. And this game was not very, I would say, edifying. I don't know if that's the right word, but this was not a game that instills confidence in me as someone looking at this team from the outside looking in. Next up, Titans played the Browns. This game was 2 of the best games from these rookie quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders is playing good football. There's no world in which you could tell me that he is playing bad football. He had 3 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 2 through the air, and 1 interception. He was able to deliver the ball, make tight passes. There were still some bad interceptions. He had 1 throw that was off balance, that guy was open, and he ended up throwing an interception. Shedeur is making the right plays. He just is trying to force it, which is what you expect from a rookie. What I look at is Kevin Stefanski clearly was not the one who drafted Shedeur Sanders. It was the GM, it was the ownership in the Browns organization. And I think we're seeing that he has played better than Dillon Gabriel has. Plain and simple, Shedeur has played better than Dillon Gabriel has, especially for taking this week into account. And when you look at it, Kevin Stefanski took off on the game-tying play, took out Shedeur Sanders, the guy who had been leading you and was your entire engine of an offense. They scored 29 points, and there was, I don't believe, a single touchdown that did not come from Shedeur Sanders. Plain and simple, you cannot pull that guy when you're going for a 2-point play. Titans-wise, great game. Cam Ward was not the shining moment. You saw a lot of big plays from Tony Pollard especially. So Cam Ward is playing good football. He just does not have the team around him. But this is a great win for the Titans. And I think they're just gaining trade value for their pick, because there's going to be a quarterback high up there, and they're going to trade away their first overall pick. Seahawks versus Falcons. Falcons, what happened? You guys were tied with the Seahawks, a team that's arguably top 5 in the power rankings for most people. And you go in and you're like, we held them to 6 points. And then all of a sudden, you stopped knowing how to play defense. Genuinely, I have not seen actually, never mind. I can't say that. You guys are 28-3. But regardless, the Falcons did not finish this game well. They were playing well. They were playing good defense. This Seahawks team could not get anything going, and then they got everything going and dropped 37 on the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons, this is going to be a year to retool. You have a lot of injuries. Just try to get out of this season alive. Next is the Colts losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars now atop the AFC South as the Colts lose in a tight battle. Well, not tight battle. It was a tight battle until Daniel Jones went down with an Achilles injury. Daniel Jones is out for the season on a contract year. Riley Leonard was your player, and he actually got hurt in that game. He banged up his knee, and they went and signed a quarterback, which I will talk about in the next quarter. And Jacksonville played exceptional. Trevor Lawrence is making the right plays. Their defense held a strong run-heavy team to limited numbers. Jonathan Taylor did end up getting 70 rushing yards, but that was very difficult for him, and this is a guy that was dropping 200 on other teams. So understand that Jacksonville Jaguars, you guys are looking very poised to win the AFC South. Commanders versus the Vikings. The Vikings played a tremendous game against the Washington Commanders. The Commanders could not figure it out. J.J. McCarthy played well. He looked like he was playing like he won a national championship. He looked like the national championship winning J.J. McCarthy that the Vikings drafted. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy is the future, but this was definitely a bright spot on what has otherwise been an abysmal rookie go. I understand he's a sophomore. I understand he was drafted last year. I count him as a rookie. This is his first season of true snaps. Commanders, there really was no bright spot. Jaden Daniels got hurt again. Marcus Mariota went in. Defense could not do anything. Bad game. Move on to the next week. The game of the week, though, was the Bengals versus the Bills. The Bengals are now out of playoff contention. They had to win out, and they didn't. They lost to Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills are continuing to be a huge contender, and let me tell you that this team must win this year. This is the year for Josh Allen to win the Super Bowl, and I'll talk about it more in the next quarter. But I'm telling you that if it's not this year, I don't know when it will be for Josh Allen. The Bengals, it sucks. You lost your starting quarterback for a majority of the season, and he comes back, and then he starts winning games. But you met the Bills, and the Bills are a tough team in a tough environment. They played in Buffalo, snow on the ground. It was a tough environment. Guys were slipping. Understand that this team and this game does have a lot of ramifications, but Buffalo Bills do come out on top. Saints handle business against the Buccaneers. The Carolina Panthers, this is your year to reclaim the NFC South. The Buccaneers are banged up. The Buccaneers are hurt. This is the year. If there is any year for you guys to win the NFC South, it's this year. I believe in Bryce Young. I believe in Tedero McMillan. And I believe that the Buccaneers are too banged up to win games. They can't lose games to Tyler Shuck. And Tyler Shuck is like that. This game was a performance where I'm like, the Saints don't need a quarterback. I think that Tyler Shuck can be their guy. He's under contract for a few years. There's no reason to go and draft and waste a top 5 draft pick on a quarterback that could be better than the quarterback you have when you have a quarterback that I think is playing like a top half quarterback. He's playing like a top half of the league quarterback, and you need more around him. If he has more around him, he will perform even better, but he just beat a tough Buccaneers team. Steelers beat the Ravens. The Steelers are looking poised to win the AFC North, and once again, Mike Tomlin finds a way to maintain his above 500 record. Unless the Steelers lose out, we are going to see an Aaron Rodgers-led Steelers team in the playoffs. The Ravens lost this game, and this was a huge loss for them. They could possibly miss the playoffs, and that has huge implications for the AFC. Otherwise, good game from the Steelers, bad game from the Ravens. Plain and simple. Dolphins beat the Jets. This is not surprising. The one thing I will say, a continuing shining moment and shining bright spot on this Jets team is their special teams unit. They returned another punt for a touchdown. I'm continuing to see, whenever I watch highlights, I see the Jets special teams scoring touchdowns. This Jets special teams unit is going to be I think the best special teams unit in the NFL, which is sad to say when you are talking about one of the most abysmal teams operated right now in the NFL. Dolphins handled business. The Dolphins are continuing to win games that don't make sense. The Dolphins, I don't believe, they're not out of playoff contention, but no one expects them to make the playoffs. I expect this to be a very, very interesting backstretch for the Dolphins. The Broncos handled business against the Raiders, was a little bit close, but regardless, Broncos stay atop the AFC. The Raiders just are a second worst team in the NFL. They need to figure it out. They need to get better. Rams versus Cardinals. Cardinals, fire Jonathan Gannon. Rams, you're one of the best teams in the NFC. Plain and simple. The Cardinals cannot win games. Michael Wilson is a bright spot. Outside of that, not much. Packers, dethroned the Bears. The Bears dropped from the number 1 seed in the NFC to the number 7 seed in the NFC as the Packers take control of the North and are continuing to win tough games and maintain these wins. Texans handled Chiefs. The Chiefs are not looking good. Patrick Mahomes is playing like a low-tier quarterback, and the Texans defense is continuing to prove that they are a top 5 defense in this NFL and very well could be a threat in the playoffs. Eagles, Chargers. Chargers win in overtime. Close game. Field goal. Crazy pick. Jalen Hurts did not have a very good game. And that is the quarter. Goodness gracious. That was a fast one. As we are now going to restart, and we're now into the second quarter. Now, the second quarter is going to be a little bit different as I'm going to just be talking to you guys and talking to the audience. First thing I want to go over is the playoff picture right now. You may be questioning why I keep mentioning the playoff picture. And that's because 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, arguably, are not going to be in the playoffs right now. Currently, in the way the playoff picture looks, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes miss the playoffs. The Chiefs have a 16% chance to make the playoffs. That is unheard of in the Mahomes-Reed era. Mahomes missing the playoffs. Lamar missing the playoffs. Joe Burrow missing the playoffs. You may wonder, why does that matter? Why does it matter that these guys, top-end guys, are missing the playoffs? It's because there's only one guy that is meant and mentioned in the same breath as those other guys, and that's Josh Allen. And he is in the playoffs right now. He's not even atop of the AFC East right now, though. He's currently second in the AFC East behind the Patriots, who are a show-stopping offense, and Drake May, who's arguably going to win MVP. Right now, Matt Stafford still holds that cake, but Drake May is having one of the best sophomore seasons we've seen in a long time, and he is going to take that jump from, okay, good player on a bad team to great player going to receive MVP votes and possibly could win the MVP. And understand that right now, the AFC is wide open in the playoffs. Josh Allen is the best quarterback right now in the AFC playoffs. Trevor Lawrence. Now Phillip Rivers, which we'll talk more about in a bit. Drake May. Who are the other guys? There's more guys in the AFC South, but there's no guys that are in that top 5 category. Patrick Mahomes, I cannot get over the fact that obviously Joe Burrow and Lamar were hurt, and that hurt their team's chances of making the playoffs. Joe Burrow played much less than Lamar did, and Lamar, the fact that he had such a significant piece of that offense, you can't lose to the Steelers the way that they did. Plain and simple, you can't. And that could be the difference between Lamar Jackson being in the playoffs and not. And that means that Josh Allen is facing people he has not faced before in a playoff system. His roadblocks, the guys that have stopped him from winning playoff games, has been Patrick Mahomes, has been Joe Burrow, has been Lamar Jackson. If none of those guys are in the playoffs, there is no more excuse for Josh Allen. Josh Allen has to carry this team and win a Super Bowl. Make the Super Bowl at least. But if not, this is the chance the Bills have been waiting for. The road is set. There is no more roadblocks. There's obviously the guy over in New England that could face a huge challenge. However, that is still a young quarterback. He doesn't have playoff experience like Josh Allen does. None of the quarterbacks that are currently in the AFC, bar one, has made a large amount of playoff experience. And Josh Allen looks poised to be the guy to lead his team and the Bills Mafia to their first Super Bowl ever. And I would argue that right now, my money is on the Bills. The Rams look great out west. Truly, they do. They look like one of the top teams in the NFL. But it's hard to bet against Josh Allen. That then leads me to, I've been alluding to this, I haven't talked about it yet, the Indianapolis Colts. They lost Daniel Jones. Anthony Richardson is out with a fractured eye socket. And Riley Leonard got a banged up knee. And who did they turn to? Not any free agent guys or trying to, obviously the trade deadline is passed, so there's no going and getting a backup quarterback. They had to sign someone. And who else do they sign? A semi-finalist for the Hall of Fame right now. and 44-year-old grandfather, Philip Rivers. Now, this is not new news. This came out a couple of days ago. But what I will say is that this is no surprise. Currently, the high school coach, the high school that Philip Rivers coached at, and his son is playing for, was running the same exact offense as the Indianapolis Colts. And him, Philip Rivers, and Shane Steichen have been having weekly phone calls talking about the offense and talking shop. So it's going to be a smooth transition for Philip Rivers to step in. If Philip Rivers takes a snap or gets signed to the active roster, his clock resets for retirement in the Hall of Fame. But if anyone is poised to make an impact, it's going to be Philip Rivers. And think about it. Daniel Jones is on a contract here. Daniel Jones' future is not guaranteed in Indianapolis, especially when it's a quarterback coming off of an Achilles tear. It's really hard to bet on a quarterback coming off an Achilles tear. Kirk Cousins, this is the exact same thing. He was on a contract year. He tore his Achilles, and the Vikings let him go. He went to the Falcons and didn't play well. Aaron Rodgers was already signed for another year with the Jets and decided to stick it out with the Jets, play, and he had an all-right season, but still a down season. The Achilles injury for Daniel Jones, someone who is not a proven quarterback, played well this season, but how much is that impacted by one of the best O-lines in the NFL in the Indianapolis Colts, and the offense that is powered and ran an engine by Mr. Jonathan Taylor? Philip Rivers is going to step in. He is going to be able to pour into Riley Leonard, your 6th-round rookie quarterback, who does have experience in big games. Riley Leonard played in college football playoffs. He was a very, very decorated college player. And you now have Philip Rivers, who is top 10 in the majority of statistical passing categories, who has played, I think, 17 seasons. Yes, was the last season he played in 2020. Yes, the last game he played was January 6th of 2021. So I recognize that this could be a situation where it's like, hey, we're just putting the old guy out and he's going to get slaughtered. And yes, he's going to be playing one of the hardest stints of football. But if anyone can do it, it's Philip Rivers. And I think that this is not an insane signing. I saw it and was like, what on earth are we talking about? Why are we signing Philip Rivers? And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, having a guy that is the caliber of Philip Rivers in your quarterback room to be able to pour into a rookie quarterback in Riley Leonard is unmatched. Daniel Jones does not have that veteran presence that someone like Philip Rivers does. And Philip Rivers will have a relationship similar to like a father-son mentality between him and Riley Leonard. I mean, Phil is 44 years old. He is a grandfather. He has grandkids. And he is going to be snapping it up and slinging the rock for the Indianapolis Colts. And that is an exciting thing to think about if you are a football fan. Tune into the Indianapolis Colts games because they are going to be absolute cinema. Now I'm going to talk about the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are currently 3-10, I believe. I believe they're 3-10, yes. They just lost in embarrassing fashion to the Los Angeles Rams. And they have now been embarrassed by the Rams, by the 49ers, and by the Seahawks. There is no world in which Jonathan Gannon is the head coach next year. I believed in the past, I was like, hey, if this is a close game and they're able to control and able to hold the Rams to a decent score, it'll be fine. But that's not the case. This team is well built. I don't think Monty Ossenfort is the problem. It's the coaching right now. Because obviously you need a quarterback and injuries have been a huge deal and yada yada. But this team is a well-built team. This team on paper does not look like a team that should be losing to teams 45-17, and it's the offense. The fact is that Drew Petzing cannot run the offense well. This offense is not succeeding. And understand that you need a good offensive coordinator. You need a good head coach. And right now, Jonathan Gannon's defense is not holding these teams. You brought in this defensive-minded coach to try to slow down the high, explosive offenses that Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan run. And he hasn't done that. And so, truly, what I expect is the Cardinals are going to fire Jonathan Gannon, and they're going to clear out house. I do not know who they're going to try to hire. There does not seem to be a clear clear choice for who to bring in as head coach. There are a couple of options, obviously. A Bill Belichick is someone who is still technically on the market. He's not openly on the market, but he is there. The Cardinals I'm really lost for the Cardinals and what they're going to go and what they're going to do. But right now, the Cardinals, it's going to be a situation where they need to trade up and get their guy, get a quarterback that they can trust and believe in. Trade Kyler, fire Gannon, and get someone in there that can run an offense. And I think Mike McDaniels as a coordinator could be extremely effective offensively, but then you're going to need an absolute genius defensive mind. And that's my take for the Arizona Cardinals, the storylines that we are currently seeing, and Indianapolis Colts signing Phillip Rivers. And with that, we're now going to be going into the second half of action. Now, the second half of action today... Oh no. Sorry, my computer is running weird, and now my screen is very covered. I believe that can fix one of those things. Did my computer crash? That's a good question. Nope. Just the mouse. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to be talking about the next week of action. We're back. Without any hiccups, of course, per the norm. I believe my mouse died. That's what happened. Nope, my mouse is alive. Do not know what happened with the mouse, but either way, we ball 20 seconds into the third quarter. Let's start talking about this next week of action. Falcons are going to get absolutely, well, after that Buccaneers loss to the Saints, I don't discount anything for this Buccaneers team. This Buccaneers team is playing hurt. Baker does not look healthy right now. And by that metric, I don't trust this Falcons team either. They just got absolutely mollywopped by the Seahawks. So I still think the Buccaneers are going to win this game, but it's going to be a little close for comfort. This is not going to be a game where you're like, oh, this is so clearly handled by the Buccaneers. It's going to be a close game, but the Buccaneers are still going to win this game. I don't see a world in which they don't. Baker is still a great player, but I don't think Kirk and the Falcons, with the injuries they have, are going to be able to do much against this team. In 1 second, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to need to take a quick... I need to go grab my water. Ugh. Apologies. I sadly do not have commercial breaks, so you guys have to see me drinking water. But you guys should drink some water. Water is important for life and not dying. Ravens-Bengals. Let's get into the Ravens-Bengals matchup. The Ravens are going and playing in Cincinnati against the Bengals. The Bengals have nothing to play for. The Bengals have nothing to play for but pride and spoiling Lamar Jackson's hopes of getting into the playoffs. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Joe Burrow is must-watch TV right now. His team and the way that they've been playing has been must-watch TV. The Ravens are going to try to get their get-back, obviously, because Bengals handled business against the Ravens on Thanksgiving. However, I think the Bengals still win this game. It doesn't make sense, but they're coming off of a really tough win and strong win against a tough conference opponent in the Buffalo Bills. The Ravens are coming off of a loss against a not as tough opponent. They're going in against a loss against the Steelers. This game has so many implications for the AFC North. And I think that the Bengals are going to win this. And that's going to really hurt the Ravens and their hopes and dreams of making a playoff push. Ravens, the way that they win this, Lamar balls out. Lamar needs to take over. Lamar has not been playing like Lamar Jackson. Lamar has not been playing like the guy who handles games and was an MVP in this NFL. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, is playing like his job's on the line. And his job's not on the line. He's playing like an MVP candidate every single time, and injuries have riddled his career and have been the reason why we have not seen Joe Burrow as the MVP yet. Raiders at the Eagles. I feel bad for Ashton Jeanty and Geno Smith. This Eagles team will handle business. Obviously, I want to say, they're going to absolutely decimate them, make them go and take their lunch money. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this is going to be a closer game than anyone expects, because this Eagles team, for some reason, has been in close games that really should not be close. Now, it obviously is a different conversation, because the Raiders are not nearly on par with the Los Angeles Chargers or the Green Bay Packers. But I do think, actually, the Eagles are going to win this game pretty handedly. The more I talked about it, the more I realized this is not a game that's going to be a game that is questionable or a game that I'm unsure of. This game is clearly in favor of the Eagles. Cardinals at the Texans. The Cardinals are going to lose another game. They're going to go on another loss after I don't even know how many losses. This is going to be their 11th loss of the season. They are not playing well, and they're going to be playing against one of the top defenses in the NFL. Offensively, they might be able to keep up a little bit when it comes to their defense, being able to hold off the Texans' offense, but the Cardinals are not a good team this year. They're a well-built team, but they're not a well-coached team. They give up too many points against major opponents, and their offense has not done anything. Even though Jacoby Brissett has played better than Kyler did, plain and simple, this is not a team that is playing winning football right now. So, Texans are going to win this game. Texans are going to continue to be in the hunt to try to reclaim the AFC South and make the playoffs. There very well could be a win, and they're in game against Indianapolis at the end of this season. Chargers go to Arrowhead. This game matters so much for both of these teams. If the Chiefs go and handle business, the Chiefs win out, and there's a chance. There's a chance that if they win out, they make the playoffs. They lose this game, and I believe they're out of the playoffs for certain. I think the Chargers have this. The Chargers have not had a very good offensive line. I feel so bad for Justin Herbert. There's one image that I wished was photoshopped. It's Joe Burrow sitting in the pocket. No one is blocking the massive D lineman running at his face. And let me tell you, it's not fun watching a massive D lineman run at your face. I should know, I played running back. It's terrifying when you have a guy who played at Alabama and is running directly at you. It can be a terrifying thing to happen. And Justin Herbert, I need to give you my flower. I give you your flowers. You have continued to play in one of the hardest situations right now as a quarterback with how abysmal this offensive line has played. Plain and simple, Justin Herbert, you're playing like that, and Mahomes has not. And I think if we're looking at quarterback play, Justin Herbert will will this Chargers team to win this game against the Chiefs. Bills play the Patriots in Gillette Stadium in New England, in Foxborough. The Bills win this game. The Bills are coming off of a great win against the Cincinnati Bengals. This Patriots team obviously is coming off a bye. However, I think Josh Allen wants to get his get back. It was a 23-20 last time. It was a close game, and I think this offense has been playing better football now, and I don't think this New England Patriots defense is going to be able to handle business the way that I think that they would like to. I believe that this Bills team is going to handle business in Foxborough, take this win, and take control of the AFC East, because this game has massive implications in the entire AFC picture. Jets at the Jaguars. The Jaguars are going to pounce and demolish this New York Jets team. We'll probably see a kick return touchdown or a punt return touchdown for the Jets, and that will be the only bright spot. They're currently playing with their rookie quarterback who has no reps because Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields are hurt, and there was no better option. And it looked bad against a defensive line that is nowhere near the level of Josh Hines Allen and this defense with Foyesade Oluokun and just this yes, this Jaguars defense is going to handle business against the Jets. The Jets defense will not be able to shut down the Liam Cohen-led offense. Plain and simple, that's the case. And that's my take for that game. Commanders at the Giants. Who knows? This is going to be the worst game of the week. It's a game against two teams that have nothing to play for, but a better draft position. Both of these teams control their own picks, so they're not like worried about, oh, if we don't win, we're giving a team a really good pick. But the Commanders are not playing good football. And Jaden Daniels looked all right, but he's hurt. He's playing hurt, and I don't think he's going to play this week. And I think Jackson Dart is still not going to play. I think it's going to be Jameis Winston ball, which makes me think the Giants are going to win this game because Jameis Winston is like that. Jameis Winston had some of the most entertaining moments. He went and did broadcasting. He went and broadcasted. He was on a sports. He was anchoring some sports stuff during this week of the bye week, and he was just so entertaining. And that man just is made to be a broadcaster. But Commanders going to MetLife. I think the Giants win this game. It's going to be close, but I think the Giants are going to handle business there in MetLife. Browns playing at the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears in this, though the Browns have definitely had and shown more life. As Shedeur Sanders has stepped in, we've seen an increase in their quarterback play. I think that this team could pose some difficulties for this Bears team as a whole. However, I don't think that will play a huge factor here. That is the timer for the third quarter. Put the fours up. We're heading to the fourth quarter. Let's bring this home. Before that, please drink some water. I'm not sponsored by water. I just really need some water. Okay. As we get this going, 10 minutes on the clock for the last quarter as we have 8 more games to predict. Bears hosting the Browns. As I was saying, Browns' defense is going to have a field day against Caleb Williams. They're really going to try to get after him. I do think the Bears are going to win this. Ben Johnson and this offense has been well led. I will say they got put in their place by the Packers, but this is the Cleveland Browns. It's not going to happen. Bears win at Soldier Field against the Browns. Panthers at New Orleans. In New Orleans. In Baton Rouge. Not Baton Rouge. It's not Baton Rouge. Sorry. It's New Orleans. Both of those are in Louisiana. I just realized that. I really don't know geography about Louisiana much. I just know Baton Rouge is LSU. Okay, let's get back to it. The Panthers playing at the Saints. Panthers are coming off of a bye week where they are healthier. They are going to be playing better. You're having Tyrone McMillan continuing to show flashes and become one of the best, not the best, but one of the best wide receivers of this rookie class. Mekembuka still is continuing to be a very good player, but because he does not have the same, because he is now seen as the number one option, he's getting way less. He's getting covered way more than he was back when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were a huge factor. Back to it. Panthers are going to handle business against the Saints. I think Tyler Shuck is going to play a great game. I think he's going to play very well. He is continuing to show that he is a very competent quarterback. I think everyone questioned when they went for Tyler Shuck in the second round, and I'm starting to be like, okay, actually, I think that's kind of where he falls when it comes to the rookie quarterbacks. The only one that I think has maybe shown some flashes that are better is Shedeur, and he's younger. That's the only thing that maybe makes me be like, okay, Shedeur might have been a better pick. But outside of that, I think Tyler Shuck has been an exceptional rookie this year because, especially for the way that this situation has played out for him and the situation he's in. He's in a worse situation than Shedeur, plain and simple. He's in a worse situation, and he is playing very good football and winning games against tough opponents and staying in games against tough opponents. But the Panthers are going to handle business. The Panthers, this is their year to win the NFC South. They're going to win this game in New Orleans. Lions in LA. In SoFi Stadium. The Lions, Jared Goff, coming back to California to go and play against the Matthew Stafford-led Rams. This Matthew Stafford-led Rams just dropped 45 points on the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. But you know who dropped 44? The Lions, at home. against the Cowboys. These teams are two of the most high-powered offenses we have in the NFL at this point, especially in the NFC, specifically in the NFC. Two of the highest-powered offenses in the NFC. And we are going to be seeing them match up, and I am so excited. This game is going to be I'm pretty sure it's prime time. It would make no sense if it's prime time. This game is going to be absolute cinema. I have no idea who wins this. I don't know, because the Lions have lost games against opponents they shouldn't have, but so have the Rams. The Rams lost against Carolina Panthers, but the Carolina Panthers could be a division-winning team. The Lions have lost against teams that are not going to be division-winning teams. And that really makes me think and question who is going to win this game. And if I'm going to put my money on anyone, it's going to be Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and this LA Rams team. I think the NFC West has this one in this NFC West, NFC North matchup. I think this one is going to have to go to the Rams. Apologies, not the Lions. The Lions are going to be the ones that are going to get absolutely humbled in LA. Colts in Seattle against the Seattle Seahawks led by Sam Darnold. They were able to bounce back after a tough first half. But my question is, who's starting at quarterback for the Colts? If it's PHILLIP Rivers starting for the Indianapolis Colts, give me Indiana. Give me Indianapolis. Give me this Colts team. I am a firm believer in PHILLIP Rivers with this Colts team. This makes no sense. This does not make sense. I shouldn't take this pick, because this is PHILLIP Rivers, who has not played a snap of NFL football since January 6th of 2021. You want to know where I was at in January 6th of 2021? I was still in high school. I'm going to graduate next semester from college. This is insane. This is not something you should expect. But that's what's so cool about it. I have the Indianapolis Colts in Seattle beating the Seahawks. Signed, shipped, and delivered. That is my prediction. Okay, Packers at Broncos. Packers win this game. I think the Packers are going to humble the Broncos. The Broncos keep winning close games that make no sense. They right now are playing like the Kansas City Chiefs have been past years. Last year, best example. The Chiefs win these close games, one-score games, miraculously pulling off the crazy comeback, or the crazy play, or the one play that is the determining factor. The Broncos have just been that. It's like the weird magic that for some reason these teams have had of winning close games has shifted from the Chiefs over to the Broncos. The Broncos are currently atop the AFC, but I think if anyone's going to knock them off, it's going to be the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers played a great game. Obviously, it wasn't as mind-blowing as they would have liked, but the Packers have played really good football as of late. They've been playing very good football, really good defense as of late. They've been able to hold teams to lower scores, and I think if any team is going to succeed against a team that has struggled offensively, because plain and simple, this Broncos team has struggled offensively. They barely put up 24 points against the Las Vegas Raiders, who are arguably one of the worst teams in the NFL right now. This team is going to get absolutely humbled when they play against a team that is like the Green Bay Packers. Titans at the Niners. The Niners are going to handle business at home in Levi Field. They're going to handle business in San Fran because the Titans are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They had a great win against the Browns. Plain and simple, it was a good win. It was a good win to have. However, this is the San Francisco 49ers we're talking about, and they are a team that's going to make the playoffs this year. The Titans are not. And Brock Purdy is playing, and so is George Kittle. That's all you need, and you can let it ride. The two Iowa boys, let it ride. Plain and simple. Vikings at Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. You know how I said that the Lions-Rams game is going to be cinema? This is going to be cinema for a completely different reason. That Lions-Bears game is going to be cinema simply based off the fact that those are two very good teams playing against each other. This game is going to be, we're seeing two not very good defenses playing against each other and two quarterbacks who will just absolutely sling it. And I am excited for it. I think that J.J. McCarthy, the question is, will we get a good J.J. McCarthy or will we get a bad J.J. McCarthy? That is a very good question, and depending on that answer will determine my pick. I think the Cowboys win this as they're at home at AT&T Stadium in primetime. They're a very good team in these kinds of situations. J.J. McCarthy played a great game last week. I can't deny that he played a great game. However, one good game is not enough for me to have full trust in you, and I do not trust J.J. McCarthy at this point in time. But I do trust Dakota Prescott to sling the rock, put up 44, and beat this Vikings team. And finally, we have the Dolphins at the Steelers Monday night in Pittsburgh. I have the Steelers winning this game. They've played very good defense against some very high-powered offenses. And this Dolphins team struggles to play in the cold. We know that. They are not a very good team in the cold. Their offense does not lend itself to being a good team in the cold. What I will say is their backfield is a good tandem backfield. One of the better tandem backfields in the NFL, but I think the better tandem backfields in the NFL are some of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tyler Warren and I know his name. The Dolphins have Ollie Gordon and Devon Achane, and the Steelers have Tyler Warren, and I forget his name. It's number 14. Kenneth Gainwell. There we go. We got it. Kenneth Gainwell and Tyler Warren are a absolutely great tandem backfield that one of the better tandem backfields in the NFL. Obviously, the best is going to be David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, but a close second, I could argue, is Kenneth Walker and not Kenneth Walker. Sorry. Kenneth Gainwell and Tyler Warren. Very good team. I also mentioned the Seahawks. They also have a very good tandem backfield. Regardless, Steelers are going to win this game, handle business, and continue to grip the AFC South trophy even tighter. Because I think that right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be the ones to win the AFC North. And they're going to be able to keep Mike Tomlin's job alive, and we're going to get to see an Aaron Rodgers-led team in the playoffs. It's going to be a fun end of the season. And with 10 seconds left here on Game Clock, that's going to be it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all so much for watching. This has been your new favorite sports show, Game Clock. I'll see you next week. Good evening and good night.